It's 2019 and you normally hear people talk about the newest tech like gimbals, 4K, well even 8K. But what about all the old cameras? Is it worth it? The question here is, why would you even buy a 20-year-old camera in 2019? I want to answer that today in this vlog, so let's go. Okay, I stopped here to tell you what I'm doing today. So I will go to another city to meet up with a friend of mine who is also a video maker or who makes videos. And I go there because I want to help him make a video of an event. As far as I know, it's an event where people sell old things, vintage things. And I go there to get some clips with the VX because that's vintage. And I join him to make this video about this vintage market event. That's it. I hope you can hear me. I'm now on the way to the train station. I will explain you later why. Here's the proof of how stupid I am once again. So here's what happened. I went to the other city to film at this vintage market, and I believed that it is for cameras and old gear and stuff like that. I thought I maybe find a VX or a fisheye for a Vx1000, but as soon as I saw the market I realized that it's only for clothing and only hipsters were there to buy old vintage clothing. That killed my plan because I wanted to talk about old cameras and old camera gear, and the VX, that was only old clothing. I hope you enjoyed the VX footage anyway. Now I will go back home to my local skate park and have a sesh there maybe. I will still talk about the topic of today's video of course, but it changed my plan a little bit. I will now talk about the VX thing and go back home. And I thought I could get another Vx1000. Fuck, I should probably never do that again. I almost destroyed the lens with it. You know, that's the thing with making vlogs on YouTube. Things will not always go as planned and you maybe have to change the plan. But I would still like to talk about the topic, which is why should you buy a 20-year-old camera nowadays? I will now try to share my idea on that topic and why I bought a Sony Vx1000 a year ago. First, let's go to my friends to the skate park. Das Finischen. Das ist die Zukunft. Und dann werden alle Leute mit denen reisen. Ich glaube, das ist die. Now that we tried out my friend's new scooter, I'm back here in my room and I want to talk about the actual topic of the day, which is why you should or shouldn't buy a vintage camera. As you could see, this vintage event had nothing to do with vintage cameras, but anyway, I guess it was a good example of vintage footage. You saw a lot of old footage from the camera. First up, let's clarify something here. What is vintage camera gear? Vintage camera equipment is something like this here. This is a vintage photo camera. This comes from the time before Instagram, where photos weren't digital. You had to put in the film roll and you could shoot photos. Then my second vintage camera, the famous Sony Vx1000. This is a video camera from the 1990s. This video camera is over 20 years old, it's older than YouTube, and it works with mini DV tapes. These are my vintage cameras, and every trendy hipster photographer should have one of these, or at least this one. I feel like they look so much cooler than new cameras, that's why I always have them on the shelf, but I also use these. I've only tried this once, to be honest, because it's expensive to shoot film. I use this one every now and then to make skate videos. I used it today to film this vintage clothing market. The actual question of this video, the topic is, should you buy a 20-year-old camera or any kind of old camera, vintage camera? And the answer to that is, it depends on who you are and what you want to do, and I cannot give you a recommendation for it. The first thing that is very important, you should only buy an old camera if you're interested in stuff like this. If it has nothing to do with your character and if you're more like the guy that wants the best quality. The thing is, you gotta really enjoy to use these old cameras. I recommend maybe getting something cheaper first, or just, I mean, everyone has their old, everyone has one of these at home. This is a standard old camera that you might have at home. Before I bought the Vx1000, I decided to give this a try, filmed a few things on it just to get a feeling for it and to see how this works, this system. That's something that I definitely recommend. Ask your dad or mom if they have something like this, and they probably will say yes, because every one of us teenagers was filmed with this when they were young. The old videos of you probably were shot on something like this. As I said, it's very important to find a reason to buy this camera. If you're interested in general in old cameras and old camera systems, and you just enjoy using these old camera systems because it's so funny, I gotta say that the best part about this old camera system is how you use them. I love using this camera, just looking through this glass here. I love using this old camera because it's such a different feeling to something like this camera that films this video. If you look through this camera, it's a unique view. That is what it looks like to film on this old camera, and it's just funny to use it. I especially like the auto zoom. Whenever you see a skate video of mine where I tend to zoom into the skateboard a lot, I like to do that because I can't do it with this camera, because there is no electronic zoom with this one. That's the funniest thing about this camera, that you can zoom in and out all the time with a button. And so the answer to the question, should you buy an old camera, is yes, if you're passionate about it, if you love seeing old videos, if you just really enjoy making old videos and putting old video parts in your new videos like I do all the time. Not actually all the time, but sometimes. There are also downsides that you have to deal with when you're using old cameras. The first thing being, it's expensive. Old cameras are often expensive, and especially if you're using old photo cameras, so you need to buy the roll of film and develop it. That's expensive. Then the second thing that sucks a little bit is the whole process after filming this, the importing process. You need to find an old computer with a Firebolt input. Then you need to play back the mini DV tape, which means if you filmed for an hour that day, it takes an hour to import it, and then you gotta bring it to your Mac and edit it. That's just so much more complicated than these new camera systems. But that sums it up already again. As I said before, you should only get an old camera if you're passionate about it, if you like doing these things, and if you enjoy the process of making a video like that, because it's a bit more work than this new system. And I know there are a lot of people out there that just want the old look for the videos, but they don't want to spend all this time on making the videos and importing them. Obviously there are different solutions, like taking this video and making it feel old, but that's never gonna be the same in my opinion. And it's also not that funny to just put an effect in your editing software on your video. The fun is in the process. That's what I want to end this video with. That was today's video. Before I end this, I need to give one more update. Maybe you ask yourself why I'm not that consistent anymore with uploading videos. That is because of one thing, and that thing is called school. School just started a few days ago, and I know I shouldn't say this, but it destroys my creativity a little bit, and I can't upload every other day when I'm at school. I will try to stay as consistent as I can and upload twice a week this year. That's the sad truth of school life. It was going so well, I was uploading a lot, and then school came and said, no, go down to one upload a week. You can't upload 3 times. But well, there's no way around it. So with that being said, thanks for watching today's video. Please unsubscribe to the channel below. Please dislike this video, that would help a lot for the algorithm. And the last thing, please don't share this video with anyone, and please hate me in the comments below. Say something like you suck. That would make my day a little bit better. Thank you and bye. Tschüss. I actually did not mean it like that. Please subscribe and like and comment. Good things.